In today's video, I'm sharing my personal journey of why I decided to quit composting and why you might want to consider it too. While composting is often hailed as an eco-friendly practice, I've come to realize that it may not be the perfect solution it's made out to be. From pest problems and odor issues to the realities of space constraints and time commitments, I'll dive into the various challenges I faced. Join me as we explore the unexpected downsides of composting and discuss alternative options that might serve us better. 1. The reality of space constraints. When I first started composting, I imagined it would be a small, tidy bin out back. Instead, the reality set in quickly. Composting takes up more space than most people realize. According to the EPA, the average household needs at least a 3 by 3 foot area for a basic outdoor compost pile, not including room for turning and ventilation. In my small urban apartment, even a compact bin took over my balcony, crowding out plants and leaving little room to relax. Apartment dwellers like me often have strict rules about odors and pest prevention, making it nearly impossible to compost responsibly. Surveys from 2024 showed that 57% of city residents cited lack of space as their main barrier to composting. For many of us, the dream of neatly turning food scraps into soil just doesn't fit our living situation. 2. Pest problems. More than just a nuisance. It wasn't long before I noticed tiny fruit flies and, embarrassingly, the occasional mouse sniffing around my compost bin. Research from the University of California in 2023 found that poorly maintained compost bins are a leading attractant for urban pests, especially when meat or dairy accidentally gets mixed in. Even with airtight lids and careful sorting, I still found evidence of critters. The CDC has warned that household composting can increase the risk of rodent infestations in dense neighborhoods, which can lead to health concerns and even fines from landlords. A neighbor once commented on the smell, and I worried about causing problems for everyone in my building. The hassle of constant vigilance just wasn't worth it. 3. Time commitment and ongoing maintenance. Composting isn't a set it and forget it project. It demands regular attention, turning the pile, monitoring moisture, and making sure the right mix of greens and browns is added. According to a 2025 survey by the National Waste and Recycling Association, more than half of former composters said they quit because it took too much time. For someone balancing work, family, and other commitments, I found myself resenting the chore. Miss a few days, and the pile could go anaerobic, producing unpleasant smells and attracting even more pests. For many people, the weekly commitment just doesn't fit into an already packed schedule. 4. Odor issues. Even when done right. One of the most surprising lessons was how quickly a compost bin can start to smell, even when doing everything right. Scientific American reported in 2024 that anaerobic breakdown, even in well-maintained bins, can produce volatile organic compounds that are hard to mask, especially in warm or humid weather. My kitchen compost pail sometimes reeked so badly that I dreaded opening it, and it took constant cleaning to keep the smell at bay. Friends who visited would wrinkle their noses and ask, "What is that?" Despite using carbon filters and layering materials, the odor was a persistent problem that made my home less enjoyable. 5. Composting in the city. Regulatory and social challenges. Living in a city brings its own composting headaches. Many municipalities have strict rules about outdoor bins, citing concerns over pests, smells, and even local wildlife. In 2023, New York City issued over 2,000 citations for improper composting practices, according to the Department of Sanitation. Some neighborhoods outright ban outdoor composting for apartment dwellers. I found myself constantly checking city guidelines, worried about breaking a rule and facing a hefty fine. The social pressure from neighbors who didn't want to deal with shared smells or pests added another layer of stress. 6. Questionable environmental impact. While composting is often praised for reducing landfill waste, new research suggests the environmental benefits may be overstated for individual households. A 2024 analysis by Stanford University revealed that small-scale, poorly managed compost piles can emit more methane, a potent greenhouse gas, than properly managed municipal composting facilities. The Environmental Defense Fund also pointed out that most methane emissions come from anaerobic conditions, which are common in backyard setups. For me, the idea that my efforts might be making things worse, not better, was a tough pill to swallow. This made me question whether home composting was really the green solution I thought it was. 7. Compost quality. Not always what you expect. After months of effort, I was excited to finally use my finished compost, only to find it was clumpy, smelly, and full of unbroken eggshells and avocado pits. According to a 2023 study by Gardener's World, nearly 40% of home composters were dissatisfied with the quality of their final product. Without access to high temperatures or professional turning equipment, many home bins never break down tough materials fully. This meant my black gold was more like lumpy dirt, and I worried about spreading plant diseases or weed seeds in my garden. The end result just didn't justify the work. 8. Lack of need for finished compost. Ironically, after all that work, I realized I didn't need that much compost. My little balcony garden only needed a small amount each year, and the rest piled up unused. A 2024 survey by the American Horticultural Society found that 62% of urban composters eventually had too much finished compost and nowhere to put it. Giving it away was harder than expected. Most friends and neighbors didn't want it, and local parks had their own sources. Instead of feeling resourceful, I felt burdened by bags of unwanted soil. 9. Community composting programs. A better alternative? As more cities invest in green waste programs, it made sense to hand off my scraps to professionals. In 2025, over 70% of major U.S. cities now offer curbside compost pickup or drop-off sites, according to U.S. Composting Council data. These programs use industrial-scale equipment to control odor, pests, and emissions, producing higher-quality compost more efficiently. I found that dropping off my food waste every week was easier, cleaner, and more effective than managing my own bin. For many people, supporting community composting is a smarter way to make a real environmental difference. 10. The surprising cost factor. When I added up the money spent on compost bins, filters, and pest deterrents, it shocked me. The average household spends $100 to $200 a year on composting supplies, according to a 2024 report by Consumer Reports. This doesn't include the value of time spent managing the process. For budget-conscious families, that's a significant expense, especially when curbside pickup is often free or included in city waste services. The hidden costs of composting can quickly outweigh the perceived benefits. 11. Emotional burnout and guilt. I started composting to feel like I was making a difference, but over time, the constant stress of managing smells, pests, and piles of waste left me feeling burned out. Psychologists from the University of Michigan in 2024 observed that green fatigue is a real phenomenon, where well-intentioned people become exhausted by the pressure to live sustainably. I felt guilty whenever I tossed something in the trash instead of the compost bin, even when it wasn't practical or possible to compost. Letting go of composting, and instead participating in easier city programs, gave me back my sense of balance and well-being. 12. Summary. Composting at home isn't always the eco-friendly, simple solution it's made out to be. Many people, especially those in urban settings, find that the space, time, pest issues, and questionable environmental gains outweigh the benefits. New data from 2023 to 2025 shows that community and municipal composting programs are more effective and convenient for most households. For anyone struggling with home composting, considering alternatives might bring more relief and better results than sticking with a system that just doesn't work.